Ladies and gentlemen, life has a strange way of teaching us lessons. One of the most profound lessons I've learned is that relationships require balance, understanding, and respect. Relationships with anyone, especially with a man, are intricate and delicate. But there's one thing I truly believe. If you want to have a relationship with a man, never show him, show strength, not weakness. This concept is often misunderstood in the context of relationships, as many people assume strength means being tough, unemotional, or unyielding. However, true strength comes from knowing and accepting your vulnerabilities, yet choosing to rise above them and continue moving forward. It's about the ability to face challenges head-on, not by pretending they don't affect you, but by handling them in a way that maintains your dignity, integrity, and self-respect. In any relationship, showing strength means being able to stand firm in your beliefs, even when faced with pressure to conform. It doesn't mean that you should never show your emotions or be completely unaffected by what's happening around you. Strength in a relationship comes from knowing how to express yourself, your needs, and your feelings without losing sight of who you are. When you show strength, you show that you are capable of handling life's uncertainties with grace. Instead of falling apart when things go wrong, you stand tall and figure out the best way to navigate through the storm. Being strong is about understanding that you are not perfect, that you have flaws, but those flaws do not define you. It's about recognizing that your past mistakes do not have to dictate your future. It is this kind of inner strength that draws people to you, not because you are perfect or invulnerable, but because you know how to handle life's challenges without allowing them to break you down. Showing strength means you don't rely on others to fix your problems or to make you feel whole. You are already whole, and you just seek someone who complements your life, not completes it. When you show strength in a relationship, you also teach others how to treat you. People, especially those closest to us, will only treat us with the level of respect that we give ourselves. If we constantly show weakness by depending on others for emotional validation, by tolerating disrespect, or by letting our boundaries be crossed, we set the tone for how we expect to be treated. However, when we display strength, we set a standard that others must meet. We communicate without words that we deserve respect, love, and kindness, and that we will not settle for anything less. True strength also involves resilience. Life is not always smooth, and relationships go through their fair share of ups and downs. It's during the tough times that true strength is revealed. It is easy to stay strong when everything is going well, but the true test comes when things start to get difficult. It's in those moments when you show your true character by how you handle the adversity in your life. You don't crumble, you don't give up, and you don't run away from the situation. Instead, you confront it with a calm determination, a willingness to find solutions, and an understanding that tough times do not last forever. Showing strength also means knowing when to ask for help. This might seem counterintuitive, but asking for support when needed is not a sign of weakness. It's a demonstration of wisdom and emotional intelligence. It shows that you are aware of your limitations and are humble enough to reach out when things become too much. It's about knowing that being strong doesn't mean doing everything on your own. It means being secure in yourself enough to acknowledge that you don't have to carry the burden alone. At the heart of showing strength is emotional intelligence, being able to manage your own emotions and understand those of others. It's about being able to express how you feel, understand why you feel that way, and respond in a manner that is considerate of your own feelings and those of the people around you. True strength is not about suppressing your emotions. It's about recognizing them, processing them, and deciding how to respond to them in a way that aligns with your values and goals. Finally, showing strength is about maintaining your own individuality in a relationship. It's easy to lose yourself in someone else, to give up your interests, dreams, and even your opinions in order to keep the peace or to make the other person happy. But true strength is about holding on to who you are, even while sharing your life with another person. It's about being able to support and love someone without losing yourself in the process. Strength isn't about being invincible or unbreakable. It's about being able to stand tall, even in the face of adversity, and knowing that you are capable of handling whatever comes your way. It's about showing the world and the people around you that you are more than the challenges you face. And above all, it's about never allowing yourself to be defined by anything other than the strength that lies within you. In a world where social validation is often sought through external sources, one of the most empowering things you can do is learn to value yourself more than seeking attention. This doesn't mean disregarding the importance of relationships or connection with others, but rather understanding that your worth doesn't come from how others perceive you. When you seek validation from outside forces, you place your happiness and sense of self in the hands of others, which is an unreliable foundation. True value comes from within, and it is this internal sense of worth that will create lasting fulfillment, no matter what others think or say. When you value yourself, you learn to trust in your abilities, your choices, and your instincts. You stop seeking the approval of others because you already know that you are enough. You realize that your happiness cannot be determined by whether or not others acknowledge your presence or affirm your actions. This shift in perspective allows you to stop chasing external sources of validation and start living authentically, free from the need to impress, to please, or to conform. It's about knowing that you deserve respect, love, and attention, but that these things come naturally when you hold yourself in high regard. The constant pursuit of attention, especially in the form of external validation, can create a never-ending cycle of insecurity. You constantly seek praise, admiration, or recognition from others because you believe it will fulfill some part of you that feels empty. However, the more you rely on external approval, the more you feed into the belief that your worth is conditional, dependent on how others perceive you in that moment. This is a fragile foundation for self-esteem, as the opinions of others are constantly shifting, and you will always find yourself on an emotional roller coaster. When you value yourself, you break free from this cycle and you begin to trust in your own value rather than seeking confirmation from the outside world. Learning to value yourself also involves embracing your imperfections. Many people spend their lives hiding parts of themselves they believe are flaws, seeking to be something they are not in order to gain the approval of others. But true self-worth comes from accepting yourself as you are, recognizing that you are not perfect and that you don't need to be. The world is full of people who will try to change you or tell you that you are not enough. But when you value yourself, you see your worth in every part of who you are, both the strengths and the weaknesses. This acceptance of yourself allows you to be free from the pressure of constantly trying to fit into others' expectations and frees you from the need to seek validation from others. It is essential to learn that seeking attention can often come at the cost of your own well-being. When you place more importance on gaining attention than on your own peace of mind, you may find yourself compromising your principles, your values, or even your happiness in exchange for temporary satisfaction. Whether it's seeking approval from others, changing your behavior to fit in, or overextending yourself for the sake of external recognition, these actions often lead to burnout and dissatisfaction. By learning to value yourself, you begin to recognize that your inner peace, your authenticity, and your self-respect are far more valuable than any fleeting attention you might receive from others. When you stop seeking attention, you also begin to focus more on what truly matters in life. Your personal growth, your passions, your values, and your goals. The time and energy that would have been spent seeking external validation are now channeled into improving yourself, becoming a better version of who you already are. This shift allows you to make decisions based on what aligns with your true desires and needs rather than what will get you the most attention or approval. You start to live with intention, choosing the things that contribute to your growth and happiness rather than those that simply make you more visible or admired. Self-worth is not something that can be given to you by others. It is something that you must cultivate within yourself. When you value yourself, you take ownership of your own happiness and stop waiting for others to fill that void. You realize that you are not defined by the number of followers you have or the compliments you receive. You are defined by your ability to stand firm in who you are, to love yourself unconditionally, and to choose the things that bring you peace and fulfillment. When you stop seeking attention and start valuing yourself, you shift from a place of constant need to one of constant self-assurance. The act of valuing yourself more than seeking attention is not a rejection of others or their love, but rather a reclamation of your own power. It is about taking back control of how you view yourself and recognizing that your value is inherent. When you begin to trust in your own worth, you will find that the right people will naturally be drawn to you, not because you are seeking their attention, but because they recognize your authenticity, strength, and self-respect. True love, respect, and admiration cannot be bought with attention. They are earned through the consistent practice of valuing yourself first and foremost. Embracing your insecurities without letting them define you is a concept that challenges the way many of us view ourselves. Society often promotes the idea that being flawless is the ideal, pushing us to hide our imperfections and presenting only the best versions of ourselves. But the truth is, Everyone has insecurities. Those internal struggles, doubts, and fears that make us feel less than perfect. The key is not to pretend they don't exist or try to eradicate them entirely, but rather to acknowledge them and make peace with them. When we embrace our insecurities, we take away their power to control us and shift from a place of shame to one of acceptance and growth. Insecurities are often born out of comparison. We compare ourselves to others and feel that we fall short in some way. Whether it's our appearance, our abilities, or our circumstances, we start to believe that we are not enough. This belief can consume us, influencing the way we act and how we relate to others. It's easy to get trapped in this mindset, thinking that in order to be accepted or loved, we must be flawless. But when we focus on perfection, we lose sight of the fact that our imperfections are what make us human, what make us unique. It's these very flaws that contribute to our strength and our individuality. To embrace your insecurities means to stop running from them. It means acknowledging the parts of yourself that you don't like without allowing them to dictate your sense of worth. It's about recognizing that no one is perfect and that each person has something they struggle with or feel insecure about. Whether it's a physical trait, a personality trait, or a past mistake, everyone has insecurities. They are not an indication of your inability or unworthiness, but rather a natural part of being human. Embracing them doesn't mean you resign yourself to them forever. It means accepting that they exist and choosing to not let them define you. When you embrace your insecurities, you begin to stop allowing them to control your actions. Instead of hiding them or allowing them to limit you, you acknowledge them openly. This openness brings freedom. It allows you to stop living in fear of judgment and to instead be comfortable with who you are. This doesn't mean that you have to broadcast every insecurity to the world, but it does mean that you no longer feel the need to hide them or pretend they don't exist. You understand that they are a part of you, but they do not define your entire being. The process of embracing insecurities requires vulnerability, and vulnerability is a powerful strength. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you give others permission to do the same. Vulnerability fosters connection because it shows others that you are human. It's in those moments of openness that you form deeper, more authentic relationships built on shared experiences and understanding. When you embrace your insecurities, you show others that it's okay to be imperfect, that they too can embrace their flaws without fear of rejection. This creates a ripple effect of compassion and empathy, both for yourself and for those around you. Insecurities don't define you unless you let them. They don't determine your worth or your potential. What defines you is your ability to accept and rise above them. When you stop giving your insecurities the power to shape your identity, you reclaim control over your life. You are not defined by what you don't like about yourself, but by the way you choose to face those aspects with courage. It's the willingness to take action despite your insecurities, to go after what you want, and to show up as your authentic self that defines you. You realize that your insecurities are simply a small part of the bigger picture that is your life. They may affect you in some ways, but they do not control who you are. Learning to embrace your insecurities also involves shifting your perspective. Instead of viewing them as obstacles, start to see them as opportunities for growth. Insecurities often stem from areas where we feel vulnerable or uncertain. By facing them head on, you give yourself the chance to grow stronger, to learn more about yourself, and to develop resilience. Overcoming these insecurities is not about eradicating them completely, but about learning to navigate them with confidence and self-assurance. Each time you embrace your insecurities and continue moving forward, you become more empowered, and you show yourself that you are capable of handling whatever challenges life presents. Your insecurities don't have to be something that holds you back. They can be a source of empowerment. When you stop letting them define you, you free yourself from the chains of self-doubt and fear. You recognize that despite your imperfections, you are worthy of love, success, and happiness. Embracing your insecurities is not about resigning yourself to them, but about acknowledging them, understanding them, and using them to fuel your personal growth. In doing so, you create a life where you are no longer controlled by the fear of not being good enough, but instead are empowered by the knowledge that you are enough just as you are. In today's world where social media and constant connectivity have blurred the lines between real and virtual life, it's easy to fall into the trap of seeking validation from others. We often find ourselves craving attention, approval, and admiration, thinking that these external sources will make us feel good about ourselves. However, this constant desire for validation can be damaging to our sense of self-worth. It's important to recognize that seeking validation from others is not the key to happiness or fulfillment. The real power lies in being confident and secure within yourself, without relying on external affirmation. Desperation for validation often stems from a place of insecurity or low self-esteem. When we lack confidence in who we are, we turn to others for reassurance. We post pictures, share our thoughts, or tell our achievements, hoping that someone will acknowledge or applaud us. While receiving compliments or recognition can feel good in the moment, it doesn't create lasting fulfillment. The problem arises when our self-worth becomes dependent on the responses we get from others. If we don't receive the validation we seek, we may feel insignificant, unworthy, or invisible. This cycle can lead to a constant need for more attention, making us feel empty when we don't get it. When we are desperate for validation, we start to lose sight of our true selves. We begin to base our worth on how others perceive us, rather than on who we are at our core. This external validation becomes the barometer by which we measure our value, which is an unreliable and unhealthy way to live. The truth is, no one else can define your worth. Only you can. When we place our value in the hands of others, we allow them to control how we feel about ourselves. This sets us up for emotional instability because we become overly dependent on others for our self-esteem. If their opinions fluctuate, so do ours, leaving us vulnerable to constant highs and lows. A strong sense of self comes from within. It's about recognizing your own worth, your strengths, and your unique qualities and holding on to them no matter what others think or say. When you stop seeking validation, you free yourself from the need to impress or prove yourself to others. You stop seeking approval from everyone around you and start living in a way that aligns with your values and goals. You understand that your worth is not up for negotiation or subject to someone else's opinion. Instead, you base your self-worth on your own beliefs and understanding of who you are, rather than trying to fit into the mold that others expect. Living without desperation for attention also means you become more authentic. When you no longer seek validation, you stop pretending to be something you're not just to fit in or gain approval. You can be honest about your flaws, your dreams, and your feelings without the fear of judgment. Authenticity is the freedom to show up as yourself without feeling the need to conform to others' standards or expectations. When you embrace your true self, you attract people who appreciate you for who you really are rather than for who you pretend to be. Desperation for attention also leads to a loss of personal boundaries. When we seek validation, we often become willing to compromise our own beliefs, values, and needs in order to gain approval from others. This compromises our integrity and weakens our sense of self. We may find ourselves doing things that don't align with who we truly are just to receive attention or praise. This kind of behavior can lead to feelings of resentment, confusion, and dissatisfaction as we end up losing touch with our authentic selves. On the other hand, when we stop seeking constant validation, we begin to set boundaries that protect our emotional well-being. We learn to say no when something doesn't feel right, to prioritize our needs over others' expectations, and to make decisions that are in line with our values. We stop sacrificing our happiness for the approval of others, and we learn to honor our own desires and dreams. This creates a sense of inner peace and fulfillment as we are no longer at the mercy of others' opinions. Seeking validation can also be exhausting. The constant need to please everyone, to present the best version of ourselves, and to gain approval from others takes a toll on our mental and emotional health. It's draining to live in a way that constantly seeks external affirmation, and the more we chase it, the more elusive it becomes. No matter how much attention we get, it's never enough to fill the void within us. True peace comes from within, and it can only be found when we stop seeking validation from others and start validating ourselves. When you stop being desperate for validation or constant attention, you begin to feel a sense of freedom. You release the pressure of living up to other people's expectations and start living on your own terms. This is when true confidence emerges, when you know who you are, what you stand for, and that your value is not determined by anyone else's approval. By stopping the cycle of seeking attention and validation, you empower yourself to live a life that is true to you, not to anyone else's standards or desires. Learning to enjoy your own company is one of the most important steps towards self-discovery and personal growth. In a world that often glorifies constant social interaction and external validation, it can be difficult to embrace solitude. Many people fear being alone because they associate it with loneliness, sadness, or feelings of emptiness. However, when you learn to enjoy your own company, you begin to realize that solitude is not something to fear, but something to cherish. It offers you the opportunity to reconnect with yourself, discover your true desires, and cultivate a deeper understanding of who you are. At its core, enjoying your own company is about learning to be content with yourself. When you stop relying on external sources for your happiness and validation, you begin to see the beauty in being alone. It's a time to recharge, to reflect, and to explore your own thoughts and feelings without the distractions of others. The more time you spend alone, the more you learn to appreciate your own presence. It allows you to rediscover your passions, to reconnect with the things that bring you joy, and to develop hobbies and interests that are uniquely yours. When you stop fearing solitude, you start to see it as a gift rather than a burden. Solitude also creates the space for self-reflection. In the hustle and bustle of daily life, it's easy to get lost in the noise and forget about your own needs and desires. When you spend time alone, you give yourself the opportunity to check in with yourself. You can assess where you are in life, what goals you want to achieve, and what changes need to be made. This self-awareness is a powerful tool for personal growth because it allows you to make conscious decisions about the direction of your life. Being alone doesn't mean you're isolated. It means you have the space to nurture your inner world and understand your thoughts and emotions better. Learning to enjoy your own company also helps you develop independence. Many people fear being alone because they feel that they need others to complete them or give their life meaning. This dependency on others can lead to unhealthy relationships and a sense of insecurity. When you learn to enjoy your own company, you realize that you don't need anyone else to feel whole. You become more self-sufficient emotionally and mentally. You begin to trust in your ability to navigate life's challenges and to make decisions based on your own intuition rather than seeking constant reassurance from others. This sense of independence is empowering and allows you to form healthier, more balanced relationships because you enter them with a sense of self-assuredness rather than neediness. Being alone also provides the opportunity to disconnect from the distractions and pressures of the outside world. It's easy to get caught up in the constant cycle of checking social media, seeking approval from others, or trying to keep up with societal expectations. When you spend time alone, you can escape from these external pressures and focus on what truly matters to you. You can learn to appreciate the simple joys in life, whether it's a quiet walk in nature, reading a book, or indulging in a creative activity. The peace that comes from solitude allows you to be fully present in the moment without worrying about what others think or how you are being perceived. Moreover, being alone gives you the opportunity to nurture your mental and emotional health. It's often during moments of solitude that we confront our fears, anxieties, and unresolved emotions. Rather than running from these uncomfortable feelings, being alone gives us the time and space to process them. Solitude encourages introspection and mindfulness, which are powerful tools for healing and personal development. When we are constantly surrounded by others, it's easy to suppress our emotions or avoid confronting them. But when we embrace being alone, we give ourselves the opportunity to face our inner struggles head-on and work through them at our own pace. Another benefit of enjoying your own company is that it fosters a deeper sense of gratitude and appreciation for others. When you learn to be content in your own presence, you begin to value the relationships you have with others on a different level. You no longer rely on others to fill the void or make you feel whole. Instead, you come to relationships with a sense of wholeness, knowing that your happiness does not depend on them. This allows you to form more meaningful and authentic connections because you are no longer seeking to complete yourself through others. You are simply enjoying their company and adding value to their lives without the pressure of needing them to fulfill your emotional needs. One of the most profound realizations that comes from learning to enjoy your own company is that you are enough. You don't need to constantly be surrounded by people or seek external validation to feel good about yourself. You have everything you need within you to be happy, fulfilled, and content. By embracing solitude, you build a strong relationship with yourself, which is the foundation for all other relationships in your life. When you are at peace with who you are no longer afraid of being alone. Instead, you see it as an opportunity for growth, self-discovery, and true inner peace. Staying true to your values is one of the most important aspects of living an authentic life. Our values are the principles and beliefs that guide our actions, decisions, and behavior. They define who we are, how we treat others, and what we stand for. In a world that often encourages conformity, it can be easy to compromise your values to fit in or meet the expectations of others. However, compromising your values can lead to feelings of guilt, regret, and a loss of self-respect. When you stay true to your values, you remain grounded in who you are and navigate life with integrity. Values are deeply personal, and they shape our worldview. They are influenced by our upbringing, experiences, and personal beliefs. They represent what is truly important to us, whether it's honesty, kindness, loyalty, or respect. These values act as a moral compass, helping us make decisions that align with who we are at our core. When we stay true to these values, we are being authentic to ourselves and honoring our true identity. This alignment allows us to live with purpose and clarity, knowing that our actions reflect our beliefs. However, life often presents challenges that test our commitment to our values. Social pressure, external expectations, or the desire for acceptance can sometimes make it difficult to stay true to what we believe in. We may feel the temptation to compromise on our values in order to fit in or achieve a certain goal. This might manifest in telling a lie to avoid conflict, betraying someone's trust to gain an advantage, or sacrificing our well-being for the sake of others. While these actions may offer temporary relief or rewards, they often come at a cost to our sense of self-worth. Compromising your values may lead to a short-term gain, but it can result in long-term dissatisfaction. When we act in a way that contradicts our values, we feel a disconnect within ourselves. The sense of authenticity that comes from living true to our beliefs is replaced by guilt and inner conflict. We may start to feel as though we are living a lie, trying to please others or meet expectations that don't align with who we are. This can lead to feelings of confusion, self-doubt, and even a loss of identity. Over time, this disconnect can erode our self-esteem and cause us to question our worth. Staying true to your values requires courage and strength, especially in a world that often pressures us to conform. It can be difficult to stand firm in our beliefs when others are urging us to take a different path. But when we refuse to compromise our values, we show the world that we are confident in who we are. We make choices based on what is right for us rather than what is popular or easy. This strength builds our character and reinforces our sense of self-respect. In relationships, staying true to your values is essential for building trust and respect. If we compromise our values to please others, we risk damaging the foundation of the relationship. People can sense when we are not being authentic, and this can lead to feelings of resentment or mistrust. When we stay true to our values, we show others that we are reliable, consistent, and honorable. This attracts people who respect and admire us for who we truly are, not for who we pretend to be. True connections are built on mutual respect for each other's values and beliefs, and by staying true to our own, we invite those who align with us to enter our lives. Staying true to your values also provides a sense of clarity and peace. When you know what you stand for, making decisions becomes easier. You no longer have to second-guess yourself or wonder if you are making the right choice. Your values act as a guide, helping you navigate difficult situations with confidence. Whether you are faced with a tough decision at work, a personal dilemma, or a challenging relationship, staying true to your values ensures that you are acting in alignment with your authentic self. This clarity gives you the strength to move forward with conviction, knowing that your actions are consistent with who you are. It's important to remember that staying true to your values doesn't mean being rigid or inflexible. We all grow and evolve over time, and our values may shift as we gain new experiences and insights. The key is to remain true to your core beliefs while being open to personal growth and change. As long as you continue to honor your authentic self and make decisions based on your values, you are staying true to who you are, regardless of how much you evolve. Living a life that aligns with your values allows you to feel a deep sense of fulfillment and satisfaction. When you act with integrity, your actions are in harmony with your beliefs, and this creates a sense of inner peace. You are no longer at odds with yourself, and you can look back on your decisions with pride, knowing that you have remained true to your values no matter the challenges you faced. Staying true to your values is not always the easiest path, but it is the one that leads to a life of authenticity, respect, and self-respect. When you make this commitment to yourself, you empower yourself to live a life that is meaningful, purposeful, and true to who you are. Setting clear boundaries that reflect self-respect is a powerful act of self-love and protection. Boundaries are the invisible lines we create to define how we want to be treated by others, as well as the limits we set for ourselves in various aspects of life. Without boundaries, we risk being overwhelmed, taken advantage of, or losing ourselves in the process of trying to please others. Clear boundaries help us maintain our emotional, mental, and physical well-being by teaching others how to treat us and reinforcing the importance of self-care. When we establish boundaries that reflect self-respect, we are asserting that our needs, values, and feelings matter just as much as anyone else's. At the heart of setting boundaries is the recognition of our own worth. Many of us struggle with boundaries because we fear disappointing others, being seen as rude, or losing relationships. But the truth is, when we fail to set boundaries, we compromise our own happiness and self-respect. We allow ourselves to be pushed beyond our limits, and in doing so, we sacrifice our well-being for the sake of others. This creates an imbalance in relationships where we feel drained, disrespected, or even resentful. By setting clear boundaries, we communicate to ourselves and others that we are worthy of respect and care, and that we will no longer tolerate behavior that diminishes our sense of self. One of the first steps in setting boundaries is understanding what we need and what we are comfortable with. This requires deep self-awareness and an understanding of our own values, needs, and limits. Boundaries can be emotional, physical, or even time. Emotional boundaries help us protect our feelings and ensure that we are not manipulated or taken advantage of. Physical boundaries define our personal space and what is acceptable in terms of physical touch or closeness. Time boundaries ensure that we prioritize our own needs, such as rest and personal activities, without feeling guilty for saying no to others' requests. Each of these boundaries is a reflection of the respect we have for ourselves and our right to protect our energy. Setting clear boundaries can feel uncomfortable, especially if we are used to putting others' needs before our own. It takes practice and courage to assert ourselves and stand firm in our decisions. However, the more we practice setting boundaries, the more natural it becomes. It's important to remember that setting boundaries is not about being rigid or unkind. It's about protecting our well-being and ensuring that we are not compromising our values for the sake of pleasing others. Healthy boundaries allow for mutual respect and understanding in relationships rather than resentment and frustration. One common challenge in setting boundaries is dealing with the fear of judgment or rejection. We often worry that others will view us as selfish or inconsiderate if we assert our needs. However, the reality is that healthy boundaries are essential for maintaining balanced, respectful relationships. People who genuinely care about us will respect our boundaries, as they understand that setting boundaries is not a reflection of disdain, but a reflection of self-worth. Those who do not respect our boundaries may not have our best interests at heart, and their actions may be a sign that we need to reconsider the dynamics of the relationship. Another key aspect of setting boundaries is learning to say no without guilt. Many people struggle with saying no because they fear the consequences, whether it's disappointing someone or feeling obligated to help. However, saying no is a necessary part of protecting our time, energy, and emotions. We cannot be everything to everyone, and it's essential to recognize that saying no to one thing is saying yes to something else, like our own needs or our personal goals. When we say no, we are reaffirming our commitment to ourselves and honoring our limitations. Learning to say no with confidence is a critical skill in maintaining healthy boundaries. Setting boundaries is also about recognizing and respecting the boundaries of others. Just as we have the right to protect our space and well-being, others have the same right. Respecting others' boundaries fosters trust, mutual respect, and understanding in relationships. It helps create a dynamic where both parties feel valued and cared for without feeling overextended or taken advantage of. This mutual respect strengthens connections and deepens the sense of security within the relationship. The importance of setting boundaries extends beyond our personal relationships. It also applies to our work and daily life. In a fast-paced world where demands on our time and attention are constant, it is essential to establish boundaries that ensure we are not overwhelmed or burnt out. This can mean setting limits on how much we take on at work, scheduling time for ourselves, or turning off technology to create space for relaxation and self-care. Boundaries allow us to prioritize what is truly important to us and protect our mental and emotional well-being. When we set clear boundaries that reflect self-respect, we are investing in our own happiness, health, and peace of mind. These boundaries allow us to create lives that are aligned with our values, needs, and desires, free from the constant pressure to please others or neglect our own well-being. By respecting ourselves enough to set limits, we show others how to treat us and cultivate relationships based on mutual respect and understanding. The practice of setting boundaries may be challenging at first, but it ultimately leads to a more fulfilling, balanced, and self-respecting life. Being ready to walk away from what doesn't serve you is an essential part of living an authentic and empowered life. Life is full of situations, relationships, jobs, and environments that can either nourish or drain us. The key to personal growth and well-being lies in recognizing when something no longer benefits us and having the courage to walk away, even if it feels difficult or uncertain. Staying in situations or relationships that don't serve your mental, emotional, or physical well-being is not only counterproductive, but it can also prevent you from moving toward the things that truly align with your goals, values, and purpose. Walking away from what doesn't serve you requires a clear understanding of your worth and an honest assessment of your life. Often, we stay in situations that aren't good for us because we feel obligated, fear the unknown, or lack the confidence to take a different path. We may hold on to toxic relationships, unhealthy environments, or unfulfilling jobs because we believe we don't deserve better or that leaving would be too difficult. However, in doing so, we deny ourselves the opportunity for growth, happiness, and true fulfillment. To be ready to walk away, it's important to recognize the signs of stagnation or harm. If a relationship consistently makes you feel undervalued, disrespected, or emotionally drained, it is a clear sign that it no longer serves you. Similarly, if your job or career is no longer aligning with your passions, values, or aspirations, staying in that position may hinder your personal development. Sometimes we find ourselves in situations that have run their course, but continue to hold on out of comfort, fear, or a sense of obligation. However, the longer we stay in these situations, the more we compromise our happiness, self-respect, and peace of mind. The ability to walk away is rooted in self-respect. When you value yourself, you understand that you deserve to be in environments and relationships that uplift you, challenge you to grow, and bring you joy. Staying in situations that don't serve you is a form of self-sabotage. By choosing to stay, you are putting the needs and comfort of others ahead of your own well-being. This can lead to feelings of resentment, frustration, and a sense of being stuck. It's essential to recognize that your time and energy are precious, and when you invest them in situations that do not align with your goals, you are holding yourself back from opportunities that could bring you greater happiness and fulfillment. Walking away is not always easy, especially when it involves leaving behind people or situations you've invested time and emotion in. There may be fear of disappointment, failure, or being judged by others. However, walking away is often an act of courage and strength. It takes bravery to leave behind something that no longer serves you, especially if it's familiar or if others expect you to stay. But the truth is, when you walk away from what no longer serves you, you create space for something better to enter your life. You open yourself up to new opportunities, experiences, and relationships that will help you grow and become the person you are meant to be. Walking away also requires clarity and discernment. It's important to ask yourself if a situation is helping you grow or if it's holding you back. Are you learning, evolving, and becoming a better version of yourself, or are you stagnating in the same place, repeating unhealthy patterns? Being able to identify what is holding you back is key to knowing when it's time to let go. Once you understand the situation clearly, it becomes easier to make the decision to walk away. The more you learn to trust your intuition and listen to your inner voice, the more you will recognize when something no longer serves your highest good. The power of walking away lies in the freedom it offers. By choosing to step away from what doesn't serve you, you regain control over your life. You take back the power that was once given to people, situations, or circumstances that drained you. Walking away is a declaration of independence, an affirmation that you are no longer willing to sacrifice your happiness for the comfort of others or the fear of the unknown. It's a reminder that you have the right to shape your own life and that your well-being is worth fighting for. In many cases, walking away doesn't mean cutting off ties completely. It simply means recognizing when something no longer benefits you and making a conscious decision to move on. This could mean setting new boundaries, taking a step back, or changing your environment. It may also involve letting go of certain people who no longer contribute positively to your life. It's important to remember that walking away doesn't signify failure. In fact, it is often the first step toward reclaiming your life and moving toward the people, places, and opportunities that align with your true desires and values. The decision to walk away is also about creating a life that reflects your highest potential. It's about understanding that you deserve to be in situations that support your growth, happiness, and peace of mind. When you walk away from what doesn't serve you, you are making room for something better, whether it's new relationships, career opportunities, or personal growth. Trust that as you step away from the things that no longer align with your true self, you are stepping into a future that is filled with more abundance, joy, and fulfillment. Remember that you have the power to choose what stays in your life and what goes. Don't be afraid to walk away from what no longer serves you, because that is often the first step toward creating a life that truly serves you. In the end, the key to any successful relationship is not about giving up who you are to keep someone by your side, but instead standing in your truth, knowing your worth, and allowing someone to join you in your journey, not to complete you, but to complement you. Only then will you find a love that is real, respectful, and truly fulfilling.